Lasker remained world champion for 27 years, the longest reign in chess history. And in this video, I'll show you one powerful principle behind his success and, more importantly, 4 practical ways you can use it in your own games. In this first position, it is white to play and hopefully win. And let me first show you that golden rule of Lasker itself, and after that we'll go to those 4 specific use cases. Alright, so here, which move comes to your mind when you're looking at this position as white? Well, first off, we see that the black king is exposed, and of course we would wish to attack it somehow. But how do you do that specifically? Like, maybe you can try to check it that way, but it's not that simple because black has his knight on c6 and he can capture a bishop if it lands there. Alright, alternatively, maybe you just want to move it somewhere here or here and attack this knight. Moreover, it also opens up your rook, and therefore initially that looks like a really great move for white. But if you start thinking deeper, you see that first off, this knight on g5 is already guarded because it has 2 defenders, and therefore bishop f4 is not even a threat because the knight is guarded, plus it is now black to play, and now he can play something. For example, he can play bishop f5 to counter your queen, and let's also not forget that in the starting position, black is up a piece. And now he refutes your attack, and now actually it's black who's winning. And here's that famous Lasker's golden rule: when you see a good move, look for a better one. Sure, bishop f4 makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, we can see that the black king is so exposed, and it would be really nice if we can just go after it right away. Is there any more effective way to expose the king and to start checking it straight away? And with that in mind, White found a brilliant move, queen to h7, which is a queen sacrifice. It's not just a move because there is a knight here, right? And the knight captures the queen. So what's the point? Well, now the king is just completely open along the g-file, and we have bishop e5. Another beautiful shot, this time with a double check. Since it's a double check, the only thing black can do is to move the king right here, but now we finish it off with this beautiful bishop checkmate. In this next game, it is white to play as well, and how would you play here as white? There is a very tempting move to play here as bishop b1. Now it looks like white is about to win the game. The rook is pinned down to the king, and on the next move, white will capture it with a check. But now it's black to play. Black goes pawn h4. The king has only 1 square to go to. The rook is still alive and is controlling the second rank, therefore the king has to go forward. And at this point, black would really wish to play rook g2 checkmate. But he can't because the rook is still pinned. However, black came with a creative trick. He played pawn f5. A brilliant shot, sacrificed the pawn, and now the white rook betrays white, blocks out the diagonal of the bishop, and black executes this checkmate rook g2. Moral of the story is, you gotta question your first impulses, even when the move looks really good. Hold on and think it through for at least a few seconds to be sure you don't have that classical situation where you do play the move and then just a second later realize that you overlooked something and blundered. Now let's see how Lasker himself applied his golden rule. In this position, it is white to play. And of course, there is an obvious thing that white can capture this rook on g8. Winning material, and most players would probably do just that, almost unthinkingly. But here's the trick. For us humans, it's very natural to wish to capture something. If you can win material, great, but even if you can just make an exchange, that still feels good for us because it simplifies matters. And it makes it less likely for you to blunder something, etc, etc. But here's the rule. Lasker here played h4, which is much stronger. Why? What's the difference? Now, of course, he followed his own rule. When you see a good move, look for a better one. But why not to capture this rook? The thing is, you gotta compare 2 pieces before you exchange them. Just look at this knight. It's a real stallion. It controls everything in black's position. It really disrupts everything, makes it hard for black to even move. And now let's look at this rook. Right on g8. The rook does nothing. It has only 1 move, and even there it does nothing. So clearly the knight is way stronger in this particular case than this lousy rook on g8, and therefore it makes no sense for white to trade it. White just double down on his attack h4, aiming to open up the h-file. Black continued with rook b8, perhaps hoping to do something on the queen side. Lasker continues with h5, trying to open this h-file for his rook. Black tried to keep the position locked, but this tricky knight, our joker, suddenly jumped to g6 with a check. A square that was seemingly so well covered by black, and yet white sacrificed the knight there. And it's a winning blow. Black cannot capture it with this pawn, because now there's a really beautiful discovered checkmate. That is really awesome. And if alternatively black captures it with the other pawn, do you see what's coming here? It's not even to take here, it's pawn to f7. And because of your sniper bishop, that delivers yet another discovered check. Now we're also hitting the queen. Black has got to cover his king somehow, let's say like this. And now do you see the next move? When you see a good move, look for a better one. Here, yes, white could capture the queen, but it's even stronger to just capture this one, utilizing the double pin. Now black can't take with the rook, because the rook is pinned by the bishop. Black can't take with a pawn, because it's pinned by the rook. And if the queen moves anywhere, or if black plays any other move, then there is just rook takes h7. And it's a checkmate, because this pawn takes away the square g8. That's why we wanted there, we didn't even want the queen. Here's a quick challenge for you. It is black to play. Actually, I was playing here as black against Grandmaster Nielsen, who is also Carlsen's coach. And in the game, unfortunately, I did not follow Lasker's rule and could not find the best move, but I hope that now you can. So please think about it, write it in comments below, and after a few minutes, we'll analyze it together. Back to Lasker's games. Lasker is playing white here, and it is white to move. Now, white's rook is hanging, and I'm pretty sure that the majority of players would just move this rook away, something like this. And it's a good move. Certainly it's good not to blunder this rook. However, Lasker, true to his rule, asked himself another question. Is there anything more powerful? Is there a way to create a counter threat that will be even stronger than black's threat? And he played d7, just ignoring this rook threat, realizing that this pawn on d7 is just so strong. He sacrificed the rook, and then he decided to just try to make the way for this pawn to be promoted. Now, it's not that easy. You cannot move it forward right away and promote, because black would capture it. Similarly, rook e8 could be a checkmate, but again, because of black's rook, it is not. Therefore, there is bishop d6 first, a very important check, pushing the king away, and now rook e8 actually works, and that is what he played. Black captured, and now, of course, white could promote to a new queen and checkmate black, but perhaps Lasker thought to himself, when there is a good move, look for a more humiliating one, and he played promotion to a rook with also a checkmate. Now let me show you another very practical way to level up your results right away. Imagine you're playing this as white, and you find yourself in this position. How would you play here as white? Now, most players would play the autopilot move bishop c4. But here's the thing. Why is it that black played this unusual move bishop c5? You can ask yourself this question. When your opponent plays something unusual, you can't just think about that. Why is that Carlsen and other grandmasters do not play this move? Why do they play knight c6 instead, right? The classical move. Maybe there is something wrong with that. And actually, the strongest move here is knight takes e5, just capturing this pawn. That's why the usual theory, the classical move, is knight c6 to provide some protection. But now you can and should go ahead and grab this pawn. Well, in reality, less than 20% of players played this best move. Now let's continue. Black goes queen f6, threatening basically his color's mate and your knight. How do you play here? Most players would retreat the knight back to safety. And it's a good move, but not the best move. So let's try to follow Lasker's rule again. You see that your opponent is trying to put together his color's mate, right? And you know that it's not a sound strategy. This is supposed to be wrong. And also there is another classical rule of chess which says do not develop your queen too early, right? Black keeps violating opening rules, and therefore instead of autopilot, you can try to punish them. And here, a better move would be, the best move would be to play pawn d4. Not only guarding your knight, but also hitting his bishop, and now his attack is totally refuted. You've got a strong center, strong knight, the bishop retreats back, now you can keep attacking, and basically black got destroyed within just a few moves. Now that we know these patterns, let's revisit our test position. Here in the actual game it was black to play, and I played a move bishop e5, which is a good move. It centralizes the bishop, puts it to a better square, and luckily for me, here white blundered. He played knight d5, which is a nice positional move in general, but in this particular case, it blunders queen f1, which is basically a back rank checkmate. It turned out good for me, but only because of white's mistake. Now instead, I should have utilized Lasker's rule, and I should have noticed also that this king on h1 is lacking defenders, because all of white's pieces are on the queen side, literally every single one of them. And I should have asked myself, is there anything better? Is there a way to use that more energetically? And there was a move queen f1, which was the best move in the position. It's really beautiful, queen sacrifice. This time there is no checkmate, but black can keep attacking, bishop e5 check. The only way to cover is g3, now knight to f3 comes with this fork, and even though black could not checkmate the king, now black just ends up with an extra rook and easily winning position. If you like this rule, you may also like my complete collection of all the most important rules about chess, but even more importantly, how to use all of them into one system. I even recorded myself playing and speaking out loud exactly how I come with the right decision so that it's easy for you to imitate that. If you're interested, I've put it all together into one bundle. It's called Booster Elo Bundle. It's linked down below. You can check it out if you're interested. And thanks for watching. See you in my next videos.